This is the biggest people's movement in the history of the country.
We all want change in our communities. We all want change in our politicians and the way politics is done. We're done politely asking for it. We're not demanding it. We demand change.
Irish water is a symptom. The IMF is the disease. And until we all realise that, everyone here is realising that and joining the dots. And realising that this isn't just about the water.
And why? Because this government priority was to pay 85 million to Irish water consultants rather than build social housing for people.
We are not the criminals. The criminals are the ones in Leinster House. They are the ones who should be locked up.
And this government thought, with their conservation grants and their heavy-handed legislation, that they could purchase half of us and intimidate the other half. Well, the fools! The fools! The fools! They underestimate us, you and me, at their peril.
It's almost a year since Michael Noonan told us this protest had gone away. Have you gone away? Have you gone away? Are you going away?
It's not meant to be divisive. This is not just us and them. Instead, we should unite ourselves again to stand as men, women and children whose time has come to say that the system isn't working, there must be a better way.
They just don't get it. They don't get the fact that we're paying doubly for water. They don't get the fact that we're opposed to privatisation. They don't get the fact that after 7 years of austerity, of cuts, taxes, cuts in our wages, everything that's happened to us, they do not understand it.
And you don't get a victory unless you stand up and fight. And what is going to sustain us is that we are many and they are few, and we will win.
We're the ones that are going to stand together today and say to them people, our waters are running free and we want them running free. You won't make us pay for it.
Is this only about water? No! Alright then, I want to tell you a quick story. A few years ago, my grandfather was brought into hospital. He spent 2 days on the trolley waiting to be seen. They thought he had lung infection, but it turned out to be lung cancer. 2 weeks later, he was dead. 80 years of age, waiting 2 days on a trolley in an A&E in Dublin, waiting to be seen. A year later, his wife, my grandmother, was brought into hospital. And when she was in hospital in a ward, she died at 5 o'clock in the morning with the nurses telling us to not disturb the 8 other people who were in the ward with her. That's the type of society the people in Leinster House have created for us, and it's not good enough. Jonathan Corey, homeless person, who died on the streets of our parliament. He deserved better. The 3 children who slept on a park bench on Mountjoy Square last week, they deserve better. The 1,100 children who are in emergency accommodation, they deserve better. The 600 people waiting on trolleys in hospitals all over this country, they deserve better. We all deserve better. The family who are evicted in Kells during the week, they deserve better. That's why the Right2Water unions have facilitated a consultation process with all of you, with the political parties, with the community groups, and with trade unionists across this country, because we believe you all have a right to health, you have a right to education, you have a right to a home, you have a right to democratic reform, but they are determined not to give that to you. We believe you have a right to change this country.
If they took away our iPhones, our Facebook, and our Twitter, the way they've taken people's homes, and look at no one being bitter, but unless we stand united at the bottom to shout stop, you can be certain now of one thing, that it won't come from the top.
And that's why we're here. This is not only about war. This is about everything. Homelessness, suicide, cuts to the mental health services, cuts to the health services.
Yesterday we learned that since the Jobstown protest, that the Garda Operation Mizzen has been spying on peaceful anti-water charge protesters, not criminals. What a waste of Garda resources and hard-earned taxpayers' money that should be put to much better use.
Members of unions, North and South, stood up for the human right to water and beat an Impact and SIP2 amendment that was trying to wreck this movement. The official position of the Irish trade union movement is now, as a result of that water charges on Irish water should be abolished. We made clear to politicians in Stormont that if they attempt to impose water charges at any time in the future, that we're ready for them. The kind of phrase, we haven't gone away, you know. If you stay strong, you don't waver, you'll win this fight. There is no legitimate reason to impose water charges on ordinary people. There is no EU directive from Brussels which requires the Dáil to impose water charges. That's why we don't have them in the north. You don't need them.
But without a clear direction, it's just whistling in the wind, so it's time for introspection and time that we begin to decide what way the future is. Well, that choice is ours to make. Do we lie back down and take it, or do we stand for what's at stake?
Do you know, at lunchtime today, the Supreme Court announced that they are putting back the trial of Shawnee Fitz until May of next year. Shawnee Fitz, as you know, is one of the bank robbers, the people robbers, the robbers of this society. He robbed from the homeless, he robbed from the lone parents, he robbed from the unemployed, he robbed from the pensioners, he enriched himself, and then he said, I own none of it. It all belongs to me, missus. And he was due in court next month. But he went to the Supreme Court demanding that his trial be postponed. And lo and behold, the Supreme Court have postponed his trial until after the general election. I wonder why.
It's about how they bought and sold us like we're cattle at a mart, as we swallow what they told us and tore ourselves apart.
And on top of this, they expect us to pay water charges. I am certainly not paying mine. As the saying goes, you can take a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. United under the principles of democracy, equality and social justice, we can change this country. We can fight for a fairer Ireland. So whether you can't pay or you won't pay in solidarity with those who can't, it is vital in this climate of inequality that we fight for our right to water, that we oppose these charges, and that we fight for public ownership of our water. We will fight, we will fight, we will fight. Thank you.
There must be a future where our children won't be forced to leave, to find a better way of life in which they can believe, a future where this island will belong to us once more and not the corporations that have risen to the fore.
So, I'm going to finish up with one quote from one of our leaders of 1916, Patrick Pearse. And he said, "You cannot conquer Ireland. You cannot extinguish the Irish passion for freedom. If our deed has not been sufficient to win freedom, then our children will win it by a better deed. Lads, we are those children!"
They have done nothing about housing. Absolutely nothing. They have opened shelters. 2 weeks after opening, they closed them and given the people in the shelters sleeping bags to sleep on the street. It's a disgrace!
Because the trickle-down economy has been dammed up now for years, and the 1% have no intent to pay back the arrears. So it's time to leave our differences and learn to come together, or the freedoms people fought for will be lost and gone forever.
Oh, here in this building, 99 and a half years ago, a proclamation was read which promised all the citizens of this nation would be cherished equally. That's not cherishing all the children of this nation equally. And we have 6 months. If that proclamation means anything, if it means anything, we have 6 months to stop the division. We want to appeal to those who have paid to wake up and smell the coffee. Irish water is dead in the water. It's only a matter of time, and we are going to keep going. We're going to push and push and push. So if you're not paying, don't pay. If you are paying, stop paying. And not voting is not an option either. So we want everybody to think long and hard, get yourself registered to vote, and attend meetings in every county in Ireland we're going to be held by the Right2Change Right2Water, talking about the right to water, the right to a home, the right to a job, the right to a republic, the right to tax justice, the right to a proper republic by Easter 2016. That's going to be happening in the next 6 or 7 weeks. There's not going to be a pause between this demonstration and the next event. The foot is on the gas now, and we're going to keep at it until we change Ireland in the spring of 2016. Thank you very much.
Because since these protests started, I've seen hope grow exponential, with people realising the true nature of potential is not to bitch in kitchens, wondering what there might have been, if only they'd done this or that or dare to live their dream, but we owe it to each other, to be decent when we can, to be kind to one another, and to see that while we stand, we're all in this together, every woman and every man, drawn from all the corners of this rich and fertile land. And to those who see mass protest as a waste of time at best, it's only because of protest that the charges were addressed. And to those who stand there wondering what it is that they can do while we're trying to shape the future, all we're waiting for is you.